Hi, Dan. How are you today?
Hey, Jordana. Doing great. Enjoying a beautiful spring day and enjoying March Madness weekend. But last night, in between the games, we had to watch one of Hallmark's wonderful presentations. And I thought it was super. How do you feel about it?
So you're right. It is springtime, which means this is Hallmark Spring into Love. And this is the second week of it. And also the second in a series of 4 movies of the Hearts Around the Table series. And this was Sherry's second act. Last week, if you remember, we watched Jenna, which is one of the foster kids' movie, and this was Sherry's feature.
And what do you mean by Hearts Around the Table? Whose table?
So this series they're doing, these 4 movies, are about a foster home or a chosen family.
Yes.
And the foster mother is played by Mindy Cohn. It's about a foster mom named Angie Hartman. And she is a foster mom to multiple children. And we are introduced to 4 of their stories. And then there's also featured in the story another current foster child who's in high school, who's living there. But these are 4 adult children that come back for a Sunday night dinner.
And what you have to remember is that although they're foster children, they consider each other brothers and sisters.
Yes, and they are in these text messages, and they are siblings, and
it's a loving family. And we, the Hallmark audience, is privileged to watch how Mindy Cohn keeps her kids together and doles out such sage advice.
Yeah, as her character Angie, and she sits down, and in this one especially, I thought in Sherry's second act, we really get to see with Sherry's character, who is played by Michelle Morgan, who is a phenomenal actress. You may recognize her. She is not. She's been in a Hallmark movie before. This is her second. She was started off at Hallmark in 2023. In Christmas with a Kiss. That was her first Hallmark feature. But
she has a long list of things she's accomplished.
She was the first Black woman to win a Daytime Emmy for her role on Young and the Restless. And so, amazing accomplishment. She is a phenomenal actress. She's been in a lot of other things. But acting was not her first choice career, if you could believe it.
She, I think... loved law.
She loved law, and then was
in an accident. She wanted to be a lawyer.
Yeah, and she was in an accident. And after that, she was found when she was bartending by an agent, and that kind of led her to acting, and she put off a law
well, it was to our benefit because she's a wonderful actress. And how about her lead?
So, Evan, the leading character, he is played by Brandon Morgan, who is newer to acting, and he started his career in a reality TV show on Bachelor in Paradise in Canada, and but has been in so many movies and shows since then. I think a couple years he's been doing this.
A wonderful cast.
And amazing. I thought they were so great together. And he's been, I actually saw him in Meet Me Next Christmas on Netflix this past year, and I thought he was phenomenal. And I was excited to see him in this one.
He is in great demand, as is Michelle.
Yeah.
And Hallmark brought these 2 wonderful actors to Saturday night for us to enjoy as a little interlude from the basketball.
And I loved the premises of this. So Sherry's character is going through, or she just recently went through a divorce. She is moving back from Zurich after divorcing her husband, who was a diplomat in another country for us. And then she's coming back to the DC area. They live in Baltimore, I guess. And is starting a new life and getting back into she was an artist, so she's getting back into that correct. And wants to take residence in a co-op where all artists live.
I thought the premise was great, and that's where she meets the leading man.
Evan. And she thinks he just works there as the handyman.
Yes. And he actually owns the building, and he is an inspired artist also. but he's also a businessman.
Yeah.
And they hit it off, so to speak, and the story revolves around their interest and how their love develops, but also how the foster mom, Angie, is able to share her words of wisdom, and how her sisters and the brothers are also able to support their loved sister.
Right, and there's a lot of interaction again with the other foster children in there,
Yes.
and their stories about how they're supporting roles. We'll be able to see in the next one you see, and then also I love that we see strong family, whether it's with their foster family or even in our character Evan and his
Yes.
relationship with his grandmother and how he was raised by his grandparents, which I thought was inspirational and what brought him to what he's doing. So
The writer was so good at bringing this love story and this family story to us. And from what I understand from the long history of this writer, she has written other wonderful stories for Hallmark and for Netflix, and she is very well accomplished.
Yeah, her name is Neil Kimmel. I think it's Neil, it's spelled with an E at the end, so I don't know if it's
Yes.
Neil or Neely, but phenomenal writing, because I loved how also we were sitting in a scene at the beginning where Angie was giving Sherry advice, and she was talking about how she always got creative inspiration to become a painter, and
Yes.
her creativity in the outlet, in this little niche, this little like reading area space.
Which has beautiful pictures on the wall.
Right, and so she said, this is where I got it. I loved Angie's eclectic art pieces and paintings around the room. And what we didn't know as viewers, that one of the paintings in the room that we saw, which looked like a diverse group of children sitting in a park on a blanket. You just saw their backs, but you knew they were a diversity of children that looked like could have been their foster family. It represented their family, basically, their chosen family. And so they loved that painting. Everybody in that house really adored that painting, and they grew up loving that painting. And what we found out when we were going to look, we found out about Evan's grandmother is that she was an artist too, but she owned this bar, and she was a painter, but in order to support her family, she sold her paintings a long time ago for no money, and she has no paintings of hers left. And we went to an auction. Her painting sold for like $10,000 or something
on
an auction.
And they couldn't find any more of her paintings. And on the wall,
That has been her inspiration for her whole
Angie's
life.
house was a painting
That belonged to Lindsay, to his mother, Lindsay Adams. And so she went back and saw the signature. And it was a full turn, but the writer knew all along what she was sending us on this, on this story, and I love that.
Well, what's interesting also is that there is a whole new appreciation for American black artists, and their paintings are going for hundreds of thousands of dollars. And here was one of those paintings that we know had sold at auction for $10,000, just hanging on the wall.
Yeah.
Like no one identified with it.
And it was, it was such a great story. I thought, the love story was fine, just like the other one. But what was truly phenomenal about it was the family essence. I really enjoyed.
That's the best part. And Hallmark brought that to us.
The siblings and how they respond to each other. I love seeing that part of it.
And what's on for next week?
So next week we get to see the third chapter. We're seeing Hearts Around the Table, and this time we're seeing Josh's love story. It's called Josh's Third Survey. And this one is, Josh is a teacher, and we keep seeing him with his...
And he's one of the foster children who grew up and return every Sunday for dinner.
Right, and we don't really know his story. Each time we find out their story. Like this time we found out about Sherry's parents. Last time we found out about Jenna's parents. We found out a little bit about Angie's story, how she has this house. And so we're going to find out about Josh's story in this one, and then we're going to find his love story where he seems to, he's a gym teacher and a coach, and he's going to fall in love with the
Hallmark
teacher there.
has found this magic touch to keep us all interested in a series, and we're able to share the love that she has for her foster children, that she raised and gave them love and gave them a home and gave them a purpose. But before we leave, 2 weeks ago, Jordana and I predicted who was going to win both the ladies and the men's NCAA basketball tournament. And we picked the Florida Gators, and they're still in the hunt. And we picked the Yukon Huskies for the women's, and they're still in.
Yep.
So we'll see next
Our
week.
brackets both still alive.
Right.
So we are excited. We're watching March
Yes.
Madness. We're watching Hallmark also tonight. We're getting ready for the premiere of The Chicken Sisters. Mom has been waiting for this one. She read the book.
That was a wonderful book.
Yeah. Well, you and I have not read that book. We cannot say it was wonderful.
Well,
but
Mom
has
read it to me
Yes.
while I was half asleep.
Yeah. But she
Yeah.
has told us all about it, so we are going to be watching it. I
Yes.
hope you do too. And stay tuned. Watch these series because
Yes.
Our Hearts Around the Table is truly a phenomenal series
Right.
about chosen
And
families.
one more thing. Today, we voted for the elections next Tuesday.
The local elections,
The local elections, and
So
also
important.
some elections nationally that everybody's watching,
Yeah.
such as the Supreme Court seat in Wisconsin and the seats that are available in the House of Representatives in Florida. And so if you haven't voted, go vote. And we'll see everybody next week. We'll have the
here.
results of the voting. We'll have more results for the basketball.
So exciting.
March Madness. And we'll be able to share with you another wonderful, wonderful Hallmark. And until then,
Have a great
everybody
week,
have
everyone.
a wonderful week and take care of yourself and take care of your loved ones.
Bye-bye,
Good
everyone.
talking to you.